what is up, viewers? Patrick from Bowers back to video, and this is episode 6. I promise to make a Bowers the today's verse comes out of Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, and it says, If you fully obey the Lord your God, and carefully follow all his commands, I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. And that's all. That's what that verse means. So let's get right into it this morning. It's time for our Royal Rangers recap. And without further, let's get into it. So one of the congregation members gave a very interesting fact about trees. Since we were talking about creation, evolution, and intelligent design, here's some of the notes. Long ages in between, microevolutionary changes, no universal common descent. Life continues according to various kinds. Also, there's no conflict between mainstream geology and Genesis 1. Congruence, not total overlap. Not all old Earth creationists have the same view of how to interpret Genesis 1. Sees days used different. So days are used in different ways in the book of Genesis. Genesis 1 verse 1. This is where God says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. God uses days in different ways. Also, most importantly, figurative use in Genesis 2 verse 4 means it can be used that way in other passages as well. Also, chronology of Genesis 1 and chronology of modern geology correspond. Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, they depict starlight. Let me give you a good example. I don't know where in Genesis, it's in Genesis 1, but I think it's verse 3, I'm not sure, where God says, let there be light. That's one of the examples in Genesis 1. Genesis 2, I don't have any examples. There's starlight. So Genesis 1 and 2 talks about things like starlight, metabolism, human work, all predating human sin and all requiring entropy. The sun and also the other stars, stable burning organisms, metabolizing of food, and atoms pre-sin, performance of work, all require the law of physics to be in continuous operation at their current values from the beginning of time. Ross's point in this seems to be the principle of decay. Paul mentions this in Romans 8. I don't know where in Romans 8 he talks about this, but this is what we see in the principles of entropy, and that the principle has to been in effect from the beginning of any of these things. Stars, metabolism, work to maintain the environment to function, even a tiny variation would have rendered these functions impossible. These are some specific statements. Here's a quote. Even one short passage may contain multiple layers of meaning that unfolds through multiple generations. This was Ross. Also, Ross seems to be arguing that there are layers of meaning latent in the biblical text, so that we can see scientific insights paralleled or expressed in some form in biblical passages that may have had a different focus. Originally, he seemed to base this on various NT passages that speak of the OT prophets as looking forward to future days in which their word would come to fulfillment. Basically, let me just give you guys a little backstory. When it says NT and OT, NT stands for New Testament and OT stands for Old Testament. Ross also argues for referencing many other passages. For example, in Job 37 verse 39, in Psalm 104, and also Proverbs 8, in our interpretation of Genesis 1 verse 11. Also, here's another one. Argues death only comes to human beings through the fall. Prior to that, it already had a role in the world. He also argues for a local flood. Also, species explosions in fossils records show intervention necessary. It also relates information illustrating what is often called the anthropic principle. There were some other notes, but my phone was charging while I was listening to Bible study. So, first I want to leave you with today. This is from Proverbs 18:10, and it says, "The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe." And that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and until next time we meet again, viewers, in every way, God's way is always the best way.